Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Welcome to Top 5 from The Ray Taylor Show, where each week I rank movies in a variety of categories, from franchise and subgenre to directors and actors. No film is left unwatched as I break down my top 5 picks, so join me every Sunday for new episodes and get ready to dive into the world of film with Top 5 from The Ray Taylor Show. Today I'm diving deep into a swamp of fairy tales, ogres, and layers, like an onion. That's right, I'm pulling my boots out of the mud to rank the top 5 movies from the iconic Shrek franchise. So whether you're a believer or just a fan of waffles in the morning, let's embark on this far, far away journey and make a deal with Rumpelstiltskin, dance with the Pied Piper, or even risk angering the fairy godmother, all to determine which Shrek movies truly deserve to wear the crown, or maybe, in this case, the cat-sized boots. But before I trot into the kingdom of Duloc, remember, magic mirrors might tell you you're the fairest of them all, but it's my job today to decide which Shrek film truly shines the brightest. Let's not keep Donkey waiting any longer. He's got another dragon love story to chase. Let's dive right into my top 5 Shrek-tacular picks. Starting off with number 5, my 5th favorite. There are 6 films in the Shrek world franchise, so that's the Shrek movies and the Puss and Boots movies. And starting off with number 5, I would say is a classic, but I think because of its popularity, it got very worn out kind of quick, but it is still a solid movie, a great movie, and the one that started it all. That's why coming in at number 5 is Shrek from 2001. This is directed by Andrew Adamson and Vicky Jensen, produced, as I think all of these are, by DreamWorks Animation. The plot of the Shrek movie, for those that aren't aware, Shrek is a modern fairy tale that subverts many classic tropes. The story revolves around Shrek, a grumpy and solitary ogre who loves the peace and solitude of his swamp. However, his quiet life is disrupted when the villainous Lord Farquaad banishes numerous fairy tale creatures to Shrek's swamp. Desperate to reclaim his territory, Shrek strikes a deal with Farquaad. Shrek will rescue Princess Fiona, for whom Farquaad wants to marry, in exchange for the deed to his swamp. Shrek embarks on this quest as an overly talkative donkey who quickly becomes his friend. When they find Fiona, they discover a secret about her that only takes effect after sunset. As they journey back to Farquaad's kingdom, a bond forms between Shrek and Fiona, leading to complications, heartwarming moments, and comedic events. The themes of this movie, the film challenges the conventional idea of fairy tales by often poking fun at traditional stories and characters. The central message of the movie revolves around the theme of acceptance and the idea that true beauty comes from within. Friendship and love are central to this plot, showing that unexpected relationships can form when we least expect them. Some great voice acting in all of these movies. This one, obviously, Mike Myers as Shrek, Eddie Murphy as Donkey, Cameron Diaz as Fiona, John Lithgow as Lord Farquaad. This movie was both a critical and commercial success. It was notable for its use in the contemporary music and popular cultural references, making it appealing to both kids and adults. The film won the first ever Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, and led to several sequels and spin-offs. Obviously, that is why I'm doing a top 5. Turning it into a major franchise. The character of Shrek became a cultural icon, symbolizing an anti-hero who challenges the status quo. Excuse me. Animation doesn't hold up, I would say, as well. So many songs so played out. Specifically, obviously, the Superstar song, Smash Mouth. This movie not only made Smash Mouth uber popular. I liked this. I liked Smash Mouth when, very popular in the late 90s. And then they had this song, Superstar. I think it's Superstar. In this movie, and it absolutely blew up, and they became somebody that just, it was like instantly played out, that song. It's so sad. And they had a couple songs on the soundtrack. I think they had a remake of a Monkey song as well. It's still a classic, tons of great moments and very quotable, so many quotes from this movie, but it's definitely a movie where it shines in all of the references to the fairy tales rather than providing an interesting story. The animation is kind of basic. The animation definitely gets better over the years. And I don't know. Out of the movies, I still like Shrek. It's not the worst of the franchise. There's one movie that didn't make the list, which I will talk about at the very end. But coming in at number 5 is the very first Shrek. Moving on to my 4th favorite movie in the Shrek universe. This was a movie that has a lot of similarities to the first film, but still, I think it was definitely a step up from the first film. That's why it's here at number 4, but was unable to really do some of the interesting stuff that we see in some of the other films. But coming in at number 4 is Shrek 2. From 2004. This one's directed by Andrew Adamson, Kelly Asburn, and Conrad Vernon. This one, Shrek 2, picks up shortly after the first film, with Shrek and Princess Fiona returning from their honeymoon. They are invited to the kingdom of far, far away from Fiona's parents, King Harold and Queen Lillian, who want to celebrate their daughter's marriage. However, there's a catch. Fiona's parents are unaware that both she and Shrek are now ogres. When they arrive in Far, Far Away, Fiona's parents are shocked to hear and see Shrek's appearance. While Queen Lillian tries to be understanding, King Harold is upset, having hoped Fiona would marry Prince Charming. As it turns out, King Harold had a deal with the fairy godmother, who is Prince Charming's mother, and Fiona would marry her son. And that is the deal he wanted to happen, so he is not happy. Shrek, feeling out of place and believing he's ruined Fiona's life, decides to seek out a happily ever after potion to make himself handsome and worthy of Fiona. The potion causes both Shrek and Fiona to transform into human versions of themselves, while Donkey becomes a white stallion. While Shrek is away, the fairy godmother and Prince Charming conspire to make Fiona fall in love with Charming. When Shrek returns, he finds himself in a challenging situation as he tries to convince Fiona who he truly is and reclaim their love story. The film further explores the theme of true beauty and self-worth, emphasizing that it's our inner qualities, not our external appearances, that define us, which is very similar to the first film, but instead of it being Fiona and Shrek, it is Fiona's parents that are the ones that have the issue. The concept of happily ever after is played with, and it addresses the challenges and misunderstandings that can arise in family dynamics, and especially with in-laws. The concept of happily ever after is played with, showing that it can be different for everyone and doesn't always align with society's expectations. Notable voice actors, obviously, Mike Myers returning as Shrek, Eddie Murphy as Donkey, Cameron Diaz, Fiona, Antonio Banderas is introduced, Puss and Boots character is introduced, which is one of the greatest characters, obviously, getting his own spin-off. Julie Andrews plays Queen Lillian, John Cleese plays King Harold, Rupert Everett playing Prince Charming, and Jennifer Sanders as Fairy Godmother. Shrek 2 was a massive box office success, surpassing its predecessor and becoming the highest grossing film of 2004 worldwide. Critically, it was also well received, with particular praise for its humor, voice acting, especially the introduction of Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots, and, of course, the soundtrack. The film also earned nominations from the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature and Best Original Song. The success of Shrek 2 solidified Shrek as a series, as a key franchise for the DreamWorks Animation. Similar in ways to the first film, but more compelling story. The introduction of one of the best characters in the franchise, Puss in Boots, are many of the reasons why. Coming in at number 4, for me, is Shrek 2. Let's take a quick break from this episode to talk about Attention all Ray Taylor Show fans! We're excited to announce we've just released a line of exclusive merchandise featuring original artwork inspired by the show. Our high-quality shirts and biodegradable phone cases are a perfect way to show your support for the show and make a great gift for any fan. Plus, with each purchase, you'll be helping us continue to bring you great content. So don't wait. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com now and check out the full collection. Thanks for listening, and we hope you'll show your support by grabbing some Ray Taylor Show merchandise today. And now, let's get back to the show. Moving on to my third favorite film in the Shrek series. This is my first time watching this film in preparation for the show, and it was a great watch. And this movie, also a spin-off, part of the spin-off, so not including Shrek and Fiona necessarily. That movie, coming in at number 3, is Puss and Boots. This movie came out in 2011, directed by Chris Miller. Puss in Boots serves as both a spin-off and a prequel to the Shrek series, focusing on the character of Puss in Boots, whose origins and earlier adventures are explored in this film. Long before meeting Shrek, Puss in Boots is a wanted fugitive who's seeking to clear his name after being wrongfully accused of committing a crime in his hometown of San Ricardo. While he's on the run, he learns of the existence of the legendary magic beans, which can lead one to a giant's castle holding the fabled goose that lays the golden eggs. Seeing this as an opportunity to both redeem himself and become rich, Puss teams up with Kitty Softpaws, played by Salma Hayek, a stealthy cat burglar, and his childhood friend turned adversary, Humpty Dumpty. Together, they set off on a quest to steal the magic beans from the notorious criminals Jack and Jill. However, as the journey progresses, it becomes evident that there's more at stake than just fortune, and old wounds and betrayals become the forefront, challenging the trio's partnership and their mission. In this movie, themes of this movie, themes of redemption and second chances playing a significant role in the narrative. The film delves into the concept of friendship, betrayal, and making amends for past mistakes. The classic fairy tales of Puss in Boots, Jack and the Beanstalk, and Humpty Dumpty are cleverly intertwined and remained in the story, and reimagined, I should say, in the story. Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots, Salma Hayek as Kitty Softpaws, Zach Galifianakis playing Humpty Dumpty, Billy Bob Thornton as Jack, Amy Sedaris as Jill, which both were great characters. This movie, Puss in Boots, was both a critical and commercial success. Critics praised its animation quality, which definitely far improved from where the Shrek series started. Character development that was praised, humor, and the voice performances, especially Antonio Banderas' portrayal of the titular character. The film earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Animated Feature, a great story in the world, right? So it's not just necessarily using references to fairy tales as a way to draw people in. It's actually a great story that happens to be in this world with interesting references. The Jack and Jill characters are amazing. Also, absolutely loved Puss in Boots in this movie as a character in general, and having Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek reunite, the Desperado reuniting, was great, while also their characters having similar vibes to the Desperado movie. I loved all of that stuff. Had a lot of fun watching it. That is why coming in number 3 is Puss and Boots. Moving on to my second favorite movie in the Shrek universe. This one was a lot of fun. This one does a lot of interesting and new things that made me love these characters, showed all of the characters that you've come to love in a new way, in an interesting way. And that's why it's coming in at number 2. Number 2 is Shrek Forever After. This came out in 2010, also known as Shrek the Final Chapter, directed by Mike Mitchell. Shrek Forever After is the 4th and final installment in the main Shrek film series. The story begins with Shrek, now a domesticated family ogre, living happily with his wife Fiona and their 3 children. However, he misses his days when he was a quote-unquote real ogre and felt feared by villagers. Feeling overwhelmed by his responsibilities and nostalgia for the prior life, Shrek experiences a bit of a midlife crisis. Seeing an opportunity, the cunning Rumpelstiltskin tricks Shrek into signing a magical contract that promises to give Shrek a day as a real ogre again. But there's a catch. Shrek must give up a day from his past. Unknown to Shrek, Rumpelstiltskin takes away the day Shrek was born, creating an alternate timeline where Shrek never existed, reminiscent of movies like Back to the Future 2, A Christmas Carol, It's a Wonderful Life, where it shows you a future as if you were dead or if you never existed. Alternate history, alternate timeline. In this alternate far, far away, Rumpelstiltskin is the tyrannical ruler. Fiona is a hardened warrior leading an orc rebellion, having never met or been rescued by Shrek. She had to rescue herself. Donkey doesn't recognize Shrek and is enslaved by witches, while Puss in Boots is a retired and overweight cat now. Shrek, realizing the gravity of his mistake, seeks to win back Fiona's heart and break the contract by getting a true love's kiss before the day ends. If he fails, the new reality will remain and he will cease to exist. The film explores themes of identity, the importance of appreciating what you have, and understanding that the quote-unquote good old days might not have been as good as one remembers. It also touches on the power of love and the sacrifices one is willing to make for their loved ones. As with the other films in the series, Shrek Forever After features various fairy tales and popular cultural references and parodies. Voices: Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, Antonio Banderas, with the addition of Walt Dorn as Rumpelstiltskin. Shrek Forever After received generally positive reviews from critics who appreciated the emotional depth, humor, and conclusion it provided to the series. It was successful at the box office and provided a satisfying end to the Shrek saga for many fans, wrapping up the storyline that began with the first Shrek film in 2001. I absolutely loved the alternate reality aspects of this movie. It allows us to see all of these different characters in a completely new way, which I loved as well. It adds some real stakes to the movie as well, which other movies didn't really have as serious of stakes. And probably the best Shrek villain, I would say, out of all of the Shrek movies. And that is why, coming in at number 2, is Shrek Forever After. Let's take a quick break from this episode because I want to promote. Are you looking for a way to take your love of The Ray Taylor Show to the next level? Look no further than Inspired Disorder Plus. As a member, you'll get access to a whole host of amazing perks, including the full week of shows, ad-free in both audio and video versions, a live painting archive, early access to the many faces, members-only discounts and deals, a podcast back catalog with over 600 episodes. But that's not all. As a member, you'll get access to my personal blog as well as my creative writing. You'll also get the chance to ask me anything you want. With all of these benefits and more, Inspired Disorder Plus is a must-have for any fan of The Ray Taylor Show. So don't wait. Go sign up now. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/plus and start enjoying all of the amazing perks of the membership. And now, let's get back to the show. Moving on to my favorite movie in the Shrek universe. This was another movie I'd watched for the first time. Actually, most of these movies, aside from, I think, the first two Shrek movies, I hadn't seen any of the sequels. So another reason why I wanted to watch these movies, to rank them, is to just see how this franchise went, and also to see this movie that I heard good things about and was excited to watch. It was the last one I watched out of the franchise because it is also the last movie to have come out. That being my number one favorite movie in the Shrek franchise is Puss and Boots: The Last Wish. This came out last year, 2022, directed by Joel Crawford and Januel Mercado, produced by DreamWorks Animation, as they all are. Puss and Boots: The Last Wish is a sequel to the Puss and Boots from 2011 and the sixth installment in the Shrek franchise. The movie begins with Puss in Boots hosting a party where he accidentally loses 8 of his 9 lives. Well, he loses the 8th of his lives and then recounts all of the other times he lost his lives. He is informed that he has only 1 life left, but Puss refuses to retire. On a quest to regain his lost lives, he gets embroiled in an adventure involving the mystical last wish of the wishing star, which has the power to restore his lives. He's pursued by Goldilocks and the 3 bears crime family, and quote-unquote big Jack Horner, who also seeks the star. Puss's journey is filled with challenges, including confronting his past and a mysterious black-hooded wolf. The adventure leads Puss to revelations about his past, including his relationship with Kitty Softpaws, who is his ex-fiancée. Puss's journey takes him through dark forests, confrontations with his past selves, and fatal encounters with death itself. The movie ends with Puss understanding the values of life, facing his fears, and setting off on another adventure with Kitty and Perrito towards the kingdom of far, far away. Voice acting amazing in this. Of course, Antonio Banderas as the titular character, Puss in Boots. Salma Hayek, of course, as Kitty Softpaws. You have Harvey Julien as Perrito. Also, other notable voices: Florence Pugh, Olivia Colman, Ray Winston, Samson Kayo, John Mulaney, Wagner Moura, and among others are voice talents for this. The writing and development of this film aimed to maintain the adult humor inherent in the franchise while taking a darker tone, which is one of the many reasons I like this one the most. The themes explored include Puss's fear of mortality and how to enjoy life. The storytelling took inspirations from Brothers Grimm's fairy tales, and as well as spaghetti westerns. The animation style was very different, drew inspirations from other modern animated films, notably Sony Pictures Animation's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse from 2018. The film was given the animation style was to give the film a unique storybook-like visual aesthetic, which I agree. I love the stylized nature of the animation. Definitely looks different than all the other Shrek and Puss in Boots films. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish offers a fresh look at the beloved character, exploring deeper, more mature themes while retaining the humor and charm that fans of the franchise have come to love. By far my favorite of the franchise. Fresh look visually, amazing action set pieces. Loved the new characters that they introduced as well. I love Goldilocks and the 3 bears. Absolutely amazing. The whole cat lady scenario, and when Puss thinks he's retired, that was all amazing. Even the wolf, it reminded me of the wolf in Neverending Story. This movie had real stakes to it, Puss potentially being dead forever. Absolutely a great story, a lot of fun action. Easily my number one film, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, my favorite of the Shrek films, Shrek universe. Honorable mention, Shrek 3. The king dies and Shrek's going to find a new replacement because he's not a fan of it. And it's just more of the Prince Charming stuff, which I thought was kind of stale. The successor to the kingdom, I didn't really care about that character either. Just overall, it was just kind of done with the whole Prince Charming thing. It just felt like it ran a little bit dry. So that one, Shrek 3, didn't make my list at all. But let me recap my list, and we will get out of here, shall we? This is my top 5 movies in the Shrek universe. Starting off with number 5 is Shrek. Number 4 is Shrek 2. Number 3 is Puss and Boots. Number 2 is Shrek Forever After. And my number 1 favorite movie from the Shrek franchise is Puss and Boots: The Last Wish. Let me know how you would rank your favorite Shrek movies. I would love to hear it. Thank you all for tuning into this episode of Top 5 from The Ray Taylor Show. I do hope you enjoyed my ranking and analysis of my top 5 Shrek movies from the franchise and universe of Shrek. Are there any films I should reconsider? Let me know. Join the conversation by leaving a comment or rating on your favorite podcast platform or over on youtube.com/inspireddisorder. Don't forget to tune in next Sunday for an all-new episode. See you again next week for more Top 5. Subscribe to The Ray Taylor Show on YouTube and everywhere podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Purchase Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.